When we left off, we were finding things floating in the ocean almost a week into our passage from Hawaii to Washington aboard Varuna.
Well, it's day 7 today. Or actually, we just finished day 7. We're into day 8 now. And we're slowly drifting along between drifting and sailing these last few days. There's been very, very light winds, very similar to our experience when we did this trip with Makara a couple months ago. We are actually about 2 days ahead of schedule, or further north than we were at this point with Makara, thanks to those awesome winds we had the first couple days out of Honolulu. But the last 3-4 days, it's been very slow going, been between sailing and drifting. Been trying to use the wind vane, but there's times like right now where it's just too light. There's not enough wind to push that vane back and forth either direction, like 2 to 4 knots of wind. So we've been on the autopilot, which has been quite a strain on the batteries to have on all the time. So we're thankful when there's enough wind to use that wind vane. But yeah, it's been very, very calm. We're at about 32 degrees north now. Making our way.
After about 3 to 4 days with hardly a whisper of breeze, we got some wind that we had wanted so desperately. But of course, as things go, it was not in a favorable direction. So we went from calmly ghosting along to bashing head-on into the weather.
How have the last few days been treating you?
Pretty rough. The last few days have been not rough, just rough, annoyingly rough, that's all. So it's always, you don't really ever want to be bashing because that's kind of miserable anyway, and then to be bashing 24 hours a day for 3 days straight just gets on your nerves. No one really gets any sleep, it's just the two of us. So we've had like couple of hours each night, and even that's not steady. At least I'm not getting steady sleep, 15-20 minutes at a time before getting woken up by some sort of shuddering of the boat or something. And we're not making the direction we really want to be making either, because the wind's right out of the north right now, which is really interfering with our plans to make some sort of northerly progress. But I don't know, maybe it's getting better now.
A little bit.
After 3 or 4 days of beating into the northerly winds, they slowly died off, leaving us to drift along once again.
Trying to clean up this lovely piece of trash, this old fishing gear that we picked up. Had a ton of gooseneck barnacles growing on it, and they were getting very, very smelly to have out the galley window. So scraping them off as best we can to get rid of some of the smell.
The next morning, we woke up in what felt like a fairy tale land. The glassiest of seas, with mist hanging on the water and bright colors glowing all around, made us feel like we were on another planet.
In the middle of the big blue Pacific, we're just passing through the center of a high pressure system that's super light to non-existent winds the last few days. And there's a monster on board, help me. Anyways, we finally have a little bit of breeze. We might be coming out the other side, the top of the high. I'm not sure. Might be still in it. But beautiful day, flat calm, nice slow sailing, but making some progress. And I just found a little school of pilot fish swimming in our bow wave. Pilot fish, there's some pretty cool fish. They're like black and white or black and silver, big bar stripes on their side, and they are called pilot fish because they lead and follow ships. They also hang out around whales, sharks, any sort of big animal or thing in the ocean, and they pick up the scraps along the way. But pretty cool looking fish.
And the pilot fish weren't the only ones to pay us a visit that afternoon. Besides watching the beautiful ocean go by, while we're at sea, there's always something to do. Cooking up some food always seems to be on the to-do list, and with lots of sunshine on the solar panels, it was the perfect time to run the blender and make some peanut butter. And while we're making lots of power is when we run the water maker to top up the tanks as well.
Well, this is the closest we have come to any other form of traffic since we left out of Honolulu, actually. We haven't had any other traffic even close to us. And we've been wondering where all the boats were. We thought maybe the end of the world had happened. And then finally this guy popped up on AIS. So we came within, we actually altered course a little bit. We came within, we were going to be about 3/4 of a mile, half a mile. We altered to stay about a mile and take his stern. Had a chat with him. He was a bit concerned with our direction. He wanted to know where we were going and where we'd come from, since we're right now basically pointed towards, I don't know what, northern Siberia, Russia area, something like that, yeah. But they're not going to arrive to their destination until August 1st, which is hopefully after when we will arrive in Washington State. And they're heading, we're not quite sure, we've got a debate of where they're going. They're going to Ulsan, which... Ulsan? You thought it was Korea, and I think it might be like eastern Siberia, like Mongolia area, but I can't remember, so we'll have to look it up when we get somewhere. Anyway, there's a lot of rubbish out today. We've been seeing quite large objects from a decent distance away. This is the same area as last time on Makara that we saw lots of debris floating around, but what a nice day. We've been getting a lot of mist today, kind of like light fog on the water almost, and just the condensing as it hits you. But it's been a pretty darn warm day, obviously. I probably need to have a shave and another bath. But well, we're entering into the fog. Probably the first time we've really seen this fog. There's a gorgeous rainbow coming through the fog here. I don't know if you can see that rainbow there. Got it all the way up and out the other end down there. Pretty neat. This is the first time we've really been going into some thick fog. We've seen this fog all day today and over the last few days on the horizon, and we've been heading into this throughout the day. We've felt the mist. It's been kind of an interesting day because it's been so beautiful and sunny, but you've got a constant like mist or condensation hitting your face, like a nice light spray. So that's pretty cool, but the visibility is definitely dropped now. Looks like we might have just passed through the batch back there, and that was a couple of 100 feet. Now we're back out to, you know, probably a good mile or so visibility here, which is not terrible. We're at latitude, just over latitude 38 right now. So 38 degrees latitude, that roughly is even with pretty much San Francisco Bay Area. Almost directly across from us is, to the east, is Point Reyes. And Point Reyes is one of the big Coast Guard weather transmitting stations that transmits all the different weather facts data and so on. That is 1,400 miles to the east of us, so we are still a long way west, which means we've got a good distance still to make it over to Washington. The funny thing is, even though that's how far it is to San Francisco Bay Area, it's almost exactly this, actually a little bit less to Seattle area. It's only about 1,300 miles, and that's just because of the curvature of both the Earth and also the United States, the way it curves in there. Tonight we've got some chickpeas on down below. Hilary wants to make up a little cookie recipe with some chickpeas that we found, and then we'll also do some hummus and whatnot like that. And I've also got another dough rising. We're going to do pizza tonight because we used up the last of our fish today for lunch. So that was the last of our mahi-mahi. The fishing lines are still out, but we've been going pretty slow the last couple of days, so we haven't really caught anything. Actually, this is better weather than what we were expecting, better wind. We're probably around 8-9 knots right now, apparent wind, so that's not bad.
As we continued making our way north, the conditions around us would keep changing as well, with more fog and more fish on the horizon. But that's our next adventure. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to share it with your friends, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and even consider becoming a patron. Until next time!